Opinions and stories around the game we love, told by your favorite storytellers. Stay up to date with all things cricket. Subscribe to Crickbuzz's YouTube channel and press that bell icon now.
Pakistan v Australia happens in Dubai, and that is going to be Crackerjack, DK. Humdinger. Crackerjack and I just learned these two words, that's it. If you have any other, you can throw them in.
If today's semi-final is anything to go by, I'm sure it'll be a absolute crackathon, the game, because Australia,
yeah, that's nice.
Australia and Pakistan, two good sides. I put my money on Pakistan because of the kind of cricket they're playing. Again, I'll say a lot depends on the toss, especially in Dubai. And I hope Australia win the toss. That'll give them the best chance of winning. Otherwise, Pakistan, I think, in many ways will run away with the match, because up front with their bowling attack and against the matchups that they have against Australia, you'd back Pakistan to pick a couple of wickets in the power play, and that would put a lot of stress on the lower middle order of Australia.
And DK is saying the money he's talking about is monopoly money. We're putting monopoly money only. Okay, all right, everybody, calm down. Put your Twitters down. But the big news coming for Pakistan is that Shoaib Malik and Rizwan flew. No, they got the flu. They didn't fly. They're still there, but they've got the flu. So they missed practice today. Both Mohammad Rizwan and Shoaib Malik. Just hope that their COVID tests are negative, by the way. Pakistan has said that officially. They don't have COVID. Those tests are negative. But how big is this a factor if they both don't play tomorrow, or one of them doesn't play tomorrow? Especially Shoaib Malik after what he did with that fastest 50 for Pakistan ever in T20 eyes. Ajay bhai?
I think that without Shoaib Malik, obviously there'll be a massive hole in that middle order, because Mohammad Hafiz hasn't batted as well as they would have liked. I think Shoaib and Asif Ali have been the standouts in that middle order. They've won a couple of matches single-handedly for them. So a lot will depend again on those two, because they have the skills to obviously take on the bowlers. But I really will love to see how Asif Ali does in the next game, because I can see that up to 130, 135, he'll be a good hitter of the ball. But when it crosses 140, I do think with his technique, it'll be very challenging. So it's going to be a great tussle when he takes on a Stark, a Cummins and a Hazelwood. So I'm very keen to see how he goes. Overall, as I said, if those two miss, it'll be a big miss for them. But knowing Pakistan, come on now, they're not going to miss this semi-final, are they? They've tried so hard. They've been, in the bush for so long. They've got an opportunity now, and I think every one of that, again, that's been an unchanged 11 for them throughout the tournament, and I don't see any change tomorrow as well.
Yeah, big brother, what do you think?
These two, Rizwan, I think, he's talked about Shoaib Malik, and Jamai Raja's made a big impact in this tournament, there's no doubt. But I think Rizwan holds the key, because, Rizwan allows Babar to play the way he plays, and he holds the innings together. Rizwan keeps wicket as well, and my take on wicket keepers, they're the ones who decide the energy in the side. So that energy in that side looks very calm, very composed, and which is rare with Pakistan. So you need that kind. So I think you probably miss Rizwan a lot more. Shoaib Malik, of course, his ability and his experience is something that you will miss. But for me, these games are never about the guys at 5, 6, 7 and 8. It's about the top 3, 4, because especially against Australia, they're one side that they never let you get up again. If you let them get on top of you, they won't let you get up again. So that start is very important. They will miss Rizwan. On the other side, Australia's, played 4.5 bowlers, so that's their hope. So batting second, Australia, I think, has probably has a chance. But if they bat first, Pakistan should not have a problem against these guys. That's the way I see it.
Do you think they'll change that though, TK? Do you think they're not going into a semi-final and changing that strategy, right? They're not bringing another bowler in, as Ajay is saying. Yeah, they're not playing 5 full ones. Do you think they'll change that strategy and say, let's just pad our bowling?
No, I don't think so. I think they're very settled with this 11. They'll go with their 4 main bowlers, and the 5th bowler will be in between a Maxwell, Stoinis and a Mitchell Marsh, which is a very good assortment to have. All 3 of them are very, very decent bowlers. They're not part-timers by any chance. They've been bowling all their lives, so they're pretty solid. So I'm very sure they're very happy with the 11. Both teams will go with the most predictable 11s, and I think the team that bats better will have a better chance to win this game.
Yeah, well, Dubai, of course, and same thing. Like you had said, DK, a little earlier, that if there's a little bit for the bowlers, it is most in Dubai out of all the three surfaces. And both sides seem to have some amazing bowlers, Ajay, who can really exploit. Even if you give them a little millimeter in that wicket, they can take an inch out of it.
Yeah, but in that case, I'd probably put Australia. The top three, if you had to pick only three from both sides, Australian bowling looks much better. There's no doubt. I mean, you have Shaheen Shah Afridi, Hassan Ali is probably not in that same form that he's been. But these three, I mean, you start with Mitchell Stark, Hazelwood, so accurate. And if, as DK says, there's a little help there, he's going to be just around that same space as McGrath used to be. So, and then, followed by Pat Cummins. So these three, but the problem is because you have that fifth bowler, where, as he said, three of them are mixing. So they tend to use them in the first half of the game, which is perfect for Pakistan because Pakistan wants to hold those wickets together. If they bowl these three, for me, if they bowl, say, first 10 overs with these three, then Pakistan probably would be, out of the game. But because you play in a different way, and they won't change. He's absolutely right. I mean, for years and years, Australia has always had this, they always like that extra batsman, their fifth bowler, somebody, not just one, they have 2, 3, 4 bowlers that they have. But that's when the captain cannot use his resources to his optimum level. He can't bring in Stark whenever he feels like, whenever he wants to bring in. So he has to bring him only at that stage. And in modern day cricket, people understand the game, so they see him through. And I think Stark is more dangerous probably in that 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th over. If it was me, I would probably use him there more than the first over. And then that's where he's most dangerous. His second spells are more dangerous than his first spells. So top three, yes. But, apart from that, Zampa is the man that Pakistan will really have to watch out. Because that has been one weakness, not from today. Ever since I was born and first time I saw cricket, Pakistan, any leg spinner, and Shane Warne was another level, but leg spinners have been their bane. So if they can handle Zampa, for me, I think the key is Zampa's spell for Pakistan because they don't play leg spin well. They will not have a problem in the last 6, 8, 10 overs because that's how they're built and they believe in themselves so much, and the opposition probably starts looking at the game differently. It's all about the first 6 overs, first 5, 6 overs, and not what score, who loses more wickets. And I think that's where Australia, that's the only edge Australia has.
DK, if I was to ask you the stronger bowling lineup between the two, or the more varied, or the one that you like more, non-controversial. No, that's a non-controversial. As a captain, which is the mix of bowlers you would prefer to captain? Okay, is that okay? Yeah, this will become headlines.
I think I like the Australian attack a little better. I think in these conditions, I think they have pace. They have Pat Cummins, who's a world-class test bowler, bowls great lengths. And then who has Zampa, who's very confident, who's been the highest wicket taker for them so far in the tournament, who's very good. And I believe Maxwell, Stoinis, and Mitchell Marsh are very good fifth bowlers. So, the assortment is there. And by no means am I going to say that Pakistan in any less. But if I were to be the captain, I'd rather have an Australian attack.
In terms of variation, that is an interesting one. Tell me something. You've played Stark. That jump. I don't know when I watch it. I'm watching it on TV. The 6.5-foot guy with that jump and the ability to make the ball bounce and kind of break a rib. Is that something that plays on your mind when you're facing him?
I'll tell you, with Stark, I think he is at his menacing best when the ball swings. The problem is he needs the conditions to really help him for the ball to swing because he doesn't have the same wrist position that a Josh Hazelwood has, or for that matter, a Pat Cummins has. He is very dependent on the conditions because if it aids swing, then he is very hard to play because he swings the ball late. He's got a great release which goes straight and then the ball dips on you and comes towards you towards the end. That makes it really hard. So that's why he is really good. Because in the first over, the only thing they assess is whether the ball is swinging. If they don't see the ball swing, then they go to a Pat Cummins and a Hazelwood because they know they're better hitters of that hard length, whereas Mitchell Stark is slightly on the fuller side. And when you're bowling full in the power play, you can get hit. But outside the power play, it's much easier to defend that. And it becomes a wicket-taking option, like Ajay Bhai says, when he bowls between 7 and 10. Nice. And definitely their best death bowler as well, because he's got a very good Yorker.